In a CNBC exclusive, Prince Alwaleed, thank you so much for joining us. How have you been, sir?
It's a pleasure to be with you, Fine, thank you, I'm fine.
Well, I've got to ask you, you've had dealings with our new president-elect. I think they've kind of been up or down, but I want to know, what do you think? I mean, we've got a big healing process trying to do here. Where are you right now with Donald Trump?
Well, first of all, I did congratulate Mr. Donald Trump publicly by sending a tweet to him. It reached him last night through his daughter Ivanka, and it reached him through our common friend, Mr. Tom Barak. And Tom Barak is already arranging for me to meet Mr. Trump, the president-elect, imminently in somewhere in America. So I think things are very okay right now, Mr. Donald Trump, the president-elect of the United States.
Your Highness, do you think that he is a man who can spur growth? We have lots of people who are talking, including Stan Druckenmiller, a very smart fellow, I know you know him, who are talking about levels of growth that we haven't seen in a long time. Is this realistic, or is this a pipe dream?
Well, the fact that Mr. Donald Trump is coming from the business community, the fact that Mr. Donald Trump right now has the majority in both houses of the House of Representatives and the Senate, I think there's no excuse at all for the Republican Party right now, who is dominant in the United States, not to deliver this the growth that is expected from them.
Okay, well, Your Highness, I got to ask you. You said that you congratulated the president-elect through a very interesting way to do it that you wouldn't have done 4 years ago, which is Twitter. You have got a huge position in Twitter. Some people feel that Twitter got this president-elect elected. Are you in Twitter because you think of the power of the brand, because of what it might mean in terms of societal different issues, or is it because this may be a potential fabulous takeover target, because you have identified some incredible takeover targets and been dead right, sir?
All the above is correct. I believe that the best days of Twitter are yet in front of them, and I believe that what Mr. Jack Dorsey is doing, we are beginning to see the early indications of success. Clearly, the past quarter, we are beginning to see the growth in MAUs, which was very much requested and needed by the market. And I believe that the coming quarters will continue to show the growth that is needed and expected from Twitter.
Oh, but just quickly, I don't know if you saw the announcement that Anthony Noto just put out on Twitter about the BuzzFeed partnership. What they're 6.8 million viewers for their election special. Do you like that course of action, Your Highness? And is this what you want Twitter to be doing more of? Well,
look, Twitter is on track really to achieve what is expected from it, and all these moves pour into that direction. You know, having the new association between Twitter and many of the sports leagues like NFL and others is going to really help in increasing the number of MAUs. So, and as I told you, that we are beginning to see the early indication of the success of that new strategy. So it's going to take some time, but it's beginning to happen, and I'm very optimistic towards Twitter reaching its ultimate goals.
Your Highness, beyond Twitter, we're going to open at record highs here in the States. Do you believe U.S. equities are expensive?
Well, you know, when I look at certain companies in the United States or anywhere else in the world, we don't look at the overall market. You know, we use a rifle gun approach and target certain companies that we may like or dislike. So clearly, certain companies in the United States are overpriced currently, but some other companies are not overpriced. So you cannot really just use a shotgun approach and say everything is overpriced. So selectively, there are some companies who are overpriced, but on the same side also, there are some companies who are not overpriced.
When it comes to Donald Trump, obviously we're dealing with the divisions here in the United States. We had some protests in cities overnight, but also we're told, I mean, the narrative has been written that the global reaction is severe, that we don't know how Putin will respond. We don't know how NATO will respond. We don't know how China will respond. For two questions, how will you respond, and how do you think global leaders adapt to his presidency?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, I mean, clearly we have seen the market reaction when it was announced that Mr. Donald Trump was going to be the president-elect of the United States. You see all the markets almost crashing all over the world. But clearly, when people began digesting the whole news, and when Mr. Trump went out and gave some conciliatory messages to the world and to the American people, clearly we've seen the market reaction became very positive, and it made U-turn. As for me personally, I personally had a spat with him. But clearly, when Mr. Trump became more conciliatory, and actually today, if you look at the ABC News tweet around 6 o'clock in the morning, it says that he took out and deleted all his tweets related to the banning of immigration of Muslims to the United States. So this was the main cause of my problem with Mr. Trump. But since this thing has been deleted, so I have no problem whatsoever with him right now, and I'm very happy to interact with him. And I believe this will be the view of many people on the world leaders in the world, whether it's China or Middle East or Europe. I think candidate Trump for sure is not like President-elect Trump and then President Trump. So I think he's progressing in the right direction, and I hope and I believe that once he takes the reins sometime in January, I think we're going to see all the skirmishes and all the misunderstandings that were related to candidate Trump behind us.
You've talked about, you had your doubts. I think we have a full screen of the tweet you sent out last December where you were critical. Here it is. You're a disgrace not only to the GOP but to all America. Do you regret that now?
Oh, for sure I don't regret it. And at that time, when you had candidate Trump attacking Muslims and saying Muslims are going to be banned from getting to the United States, not only I was against it, the whole Islamic world, the whole Arab world, the whole world, and I was against him. But clearly right now, when President-elect Trump retracted this talk that's not really fit for a president-elect, when President-elect Trump now is back on track, whereby he deleted all these tweets that were offending for the 1.3 billion Muslims, clearly we're back on track. So I think there's no problem between me and Trump now at all. Actually, I'm willing to rename the boat that I bought from him, now it's called Kingdom. I'm willing to rename it to Trump also. And if he wants me to rename the Plaza Hotel to Trump, I'm willing to do it also. Yeah.
Well, Your Highness, I think we can broker that. I am sure that Mr. Trump is well aware of what you're saying. Now, Mr. Trump at times has told me that he's no fan of OPEC. Your Highness, where do you come out right now in terms of where oil is, role of OPEC, and the possibility that perhaps relations can be not as strained with Mr. Trump?
Well, I would always like to differentiate between candidate Trump and President-elect Trump. I think now we have to hear what President-elect Trump says, because I heard from yesterday saying that he wants to be not offending for any nation. He doesn't want to be creating any issues. Actually, when our King Salman, talked to him, the discussion between both was excellent and was very amicable and was very friendly. So, I would like to really pass on this issue whereby Trump was, still running for elections, and he was really doing things for the internal consumption, the internal political consumption in the United States. But right now he's president-elect, and I would like to hear from him, as I heard when he accepted the presidency just a few days ago, or actually yesterday, and looking forward for more positive news from him on all fronts.
Well, Your Highness, I tell you, this is it's staggering. Glenn, I listen to you, but I've learned a great deal from you, and you are a great educator and teacher. And I want to ask you about stocks, which is our common ground previous to this. Two stocks: one, Apple with Mr. Cook, and two, Citigroup with Mike Corbat. Because both of them put together, I felt, were terrific quarters. A lot of people felt that they weren't good enough. What is your thinking about those two stocks?
Well, clearly, as for Citi is definitely on track to achieve better results. We have seen right now how the market reacted very positively to the latest results. Clearly, Mr. Corbett is showing incredible leadership, whereby he's putting Citi back on track. And I believe that now they're going to be a money-making machine. And clearly, with the potential of rising interest rate environment in the coming months and years, this will be a very lucrative for them. for Citi to reach the $60 or $70 price. And remember, Citi is one of the very few banks who are still trading below their book value. So the potential of Citi really reaching new highs, 60, 70, and 80 is there. As for Apple delivered very good results, but clearly the market is demanding a lot more from Mr. Cook right now. So, and clearly Mr. Cook, who is a very close friend of mine, obviously, has a lot of things, that going for him. I mean, you've seen the problem with Samsung, and I believe that what went on with Samsung could potentially be positive for Apple in the coming 2 or 3 quarters. Having said that, clearly the market is expecting more things from Apple. Clearly the issue of having this driverless car is on the table, but that's going to be years from now. So I think I encourage Mr. Cook and Apple to keep renovating and keep updating and upgrading all their units, whether it's being the phone or the other gadgets that they have, to really to be reflective of the demand's expectation from them.
All right, Your Highness, you have a prescient and what I can see brilliant reputation for understanding media, including the fact that you own a ton of Time Warner. Do you sell Time Warner now knowing that President-elect Trump does not want this deal to go through with AT&T? Or do you say, you know what, that was campaign talk and perhaps this is one you want to hold on for the ages because it was a brilliant move and AT&T gets it?
No, I think the issue of the potential merger or acquisition by ITT of Time Warner is going to take it's going to go through a lot of regulatory screening. This is really it's beyond just Mr. Trump. So and the market expectation that this deal may happen and materialize is not very high, because you have seen that the market price did not go to what ATT is offering Time Warner. I understand there's a vertical integration, not horizontal, but still, I think it's going to go through some deep scrutiny by the regulators in the United States.
You talked about your investment in Twitter. We're looking at a big potential IPO of Snapchat next year. Are you interested in investing in Snapchat?
Well, Snapchat is a very good company, and I know Mr. Evans, a very good friend of mine, actually came to Saudi Arabia to meet me. So we're in direct contact with Snapchat all the time, and I wish them good luck when they go public sometime in the first quarter or second quarter next year.
Do you use it, and how do you know? How do you filter between these up-and-coming, promising platforms that will become a long-standing platform like Facebook and eventually die out like MySpace?
No, I do not use Facebook, and I do not use Snapchat. I only use Twitter. I'm very biased to the companies I invested in.
I want to go back to Twitter because you just brought it up again, Your Highness. Some changes last night. Adam Bain, very popular, terrific guy. Both Carl and I, yeah, I can speak for you, Carl, if I say that. Yeah, great guy. Anthony Noto, old friend of mine from Goldman Sachs. Obviously, Jack Dorsey mentioned. Is Twitter the reason, do you think, why the new president, President-elect, was able to beat all the other people in the party and basically took control of the media through Twitter?
Clearly, the media and Twitter specifically is really at the vanguard of being the tool to send their messages to the people. Having said that, I believe the main reason of Mr. Trump winning was really one word. He was the element of change. I think people in the United States are fed up from the old system of having these two parties just continue fighting, having a gridlock in America. I believe that this is a worldwide syndrome. It's not only in the United States, but also in Britain. We've seen Brexit. We've seen in France how the Nationalist Party, Le Pen, now is getting into the 20-30% range. So this is really a wave that's spreading in the whole world. We've seen, for example, third party, Mr. Ross Perot, in the previous years. He was not able to win as a third party. But I believe the brilliance and the smartness of Mr. Trump is that he penetrated one of the parties, being the Republican Party this time, and he took control of it, and he was the element of change within that party. And that's the main reason why I believe Mr. Trump has won the Republican nomination and then the President of the United States.
A lot of his critics, Your Highness, believe that his election will bring in an era where American global leadership takes a hit. where our allies are less certain about America's commitment to protect them. They start looking elsewhere around the world to find out where they can get stability. Do you think that's true?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, one of the concerns that the world leaders have against, I emphasize, candidate Trump, not President-elect Trump, is that that they are not so sure about his commitment to all the international treaties that he has. For example, his NATO allies are not sure that he's going to continue with them the same way. Korea is also not sure. I'm talking about South Korea. In the Middle East right now, we want to be sure and get some word of assurance from him that he's going to continue considering the Arab world as being his ally.
Your Highness, I've talked to you many times and listened to you many times. This is the most optimistic and bullish I have felt that I have heard you speak about American equities. Your exposure to American equities now, has it increased of late? Do you feel even better about our stock market at all-time highs?
Look, I hear a lot of talk about the United States being down. No matter how much the United States is down, but I tell you, America will never be out. And I reiterate the words of my friend Warren Buffett, that no matter what happens, the United States is still number one. And I say to the American people, you know, have confidence in your country, have confidence in your nation. You know, we look at you as being the vanguard and being the leader of the whole world, not only politically, economically, financially, and all over, but even militarily. So, yes, sometimes the United States come down, but every time the United States comes out stronger than it was, and then it entered that situation.
Now, Your Highness, I have to ask you about commodities. Oil has been stuck. It's been going down. There's considered to be a lot of oversupply. Other commodities are going up. China's using a lot more oil. It seems like the rest of the world seems to be trying to slow down fossil fuels. Where is oil going?
Well, we are seeing very clearly that now shale oil, in the United States very specifically, has replaced Saudi Arabia as being the swing producer of oil. Now, clearly, we are seeing a good equilibrium and a balance somewhere between the 45 to the 55 range. And this is not by coincidence, because the shale oil production becomes more feasible anything above the $55, $60 range. So right now we are seeing this thing hovering around that number, which is really somehow good for the producers and good for the consumers. Having said that, clearly with the technology advancement in shale oil, clearly the price of production will go down. So this is, you know, we are in a race, you know, against where the price of shale oil will be, because this really now seems to be the deciding factor. You know, as price of oil goes up, shale oil production increases, and as the price of oil goes down, many oil rigs that are related to shale oil goes down. But for the time being and for the foreseeable future, let's say a year or two, I see that the $50 to $55 range seems to be the one that satisfies both the consumers and the producers.
One last question, Your Highness. Renewables just overtook coal as the #1 source of power generation. Shell suggested the other day that we could see peak oil demand in 5 years. Would you ever invest in Solar City or Tesla or take a big bet on renewables?
Yeah, I just like to correct you. I mean, the article says 15 years the peak of oil, not 5 years. That was an article in Financial Times yesterday. Now, as for the alternative oil, it's very clearly, you know, we are, for example, right now joining Bill Gates and many of the other businessmen in his oil initiative to look into alternative for oil. And actually, just today, I signed the approval to proceed in investing with Mr. Bill Gates and many companies that are going to join him. So to find some alternatives to oil. So there's no doubt this is the future. We're heading that direction, and I think that the era of oil may not be ending imminently, but I think in next 20, 30 years, I think all producing countries have to begin very seriously thinking about alternatives to oil, because the alternative to oil is becoming now a reality.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.